one of the things that's truly incredible about all of this is that we've seen all of this before. This just looks like 1979. We are now back in Jimmy Carter era with stagflation setting in, Russians invading a foreign country, a prolonged guerrilla war that is likely to last for a while, and an economy that is on the brink. So well done to President Biden, who he once suggested that Mitt Romney wanted to bring back the 1980s. Well, now he's bringing back 1979 in all of its glory. Now, I would be remiss if I did not point out here that Donald Trump predicted this, I believe, the day before the election in 2020. He said, if Joe Biden is elected president, you're going to see $7 a gallon gas. And everybody in the media was like, no, he's just exaggerating again. And here's the thing. Trump did make wild and outlandish speculative guesses about what was going to happen in the future. And some of those were really exaggerated. But here's the point. When Joe Biden hits the exaggeration numbers, when Donald Trump's like, it's going to be $1 million a gallon. He's like, no, it'll never be $1 million a gallon. And then like a year and a half later, it's $1 million a gallon. He just looks like a prophet. So here was Trump.
We have more oil than anybody, okay? And it's an incredible thing that it's happened over the last few years, a lot of great things. And you're paying, what, $2 a gallon for your gasoline? That's okay. You know what that's like? That's like a tax cut. That's bigger than a tax cut. If Biden got in, you'd be paying $7, $8, $9. Then they say, get rid of your car.
Okay, that is a little eerie. I mean, because as it turns out, that is in fact exactly the Joe Biden strategy. $7, $8, $9 a gallon and get rid of your car because gas is just too expensive. Meanwhile, Joe Biden is stumbling around on the world stage as per his usual arrangement. Yesterday, he was speaking in Texas, and he bizarrely suggested that a couple of Congress people play ball and one bombs people. It was a weird moment. If that guy gets off teleprompter, things get wild really quickly.
The three congressmen you have here, two of them look like they really could and did play ball, and the other one looks like he could bomb you.
What? And then after that speech, he sort of just got lost on the way out of the room, which is the thing he does fairly regularly, and then somebody has to come and show him which way it is to the cafeteria for pudding time. Here is Joe Biden yesterday, kind of wandering around. There he is, Fort Worth, Texas. Where do I go? I don't know. This way? There you are. I see you. That way, this way, who, what, no, that way. That way, oh, we'll go to the left, to the right. I love that they bring in like Hail to the Chief music at the end there. Oh, it's so ridiculous on every level. Okay, meanwhile, remember that at the same time that Donald Trump was suggesting that gas prices were going to skyrocket under Joe Biden was suggesting that he was going to solve all the world's problems. Well, just last year, in October of 2021, Joe Biden was maintaining that the gas prices would come down because he was so good at this.
Do you have a timeline for gas prices of when you think they may start coming down?
My guess is you'll start to see gas prices come down as we get by and going into the into next year in 2022.
Yeah, that one didn't come true. And then, just a couple of weeks later, as the gas prices continued to be very high, he then blamed OPEC. See, everybody's to blame except for him. Always and forever. Here's Joe Biden in November of 2021.
If you take a look at, gas prices and you take a look at oil prices, that is a consequence of, thus far, the refusal of Russia or the OPEC nations to pump more oil. And we'll see what happens on that score sooner than later.
It's everybody else to blame. Now, the reason that I'm pointing this out is because Joe Biden's newest line is that the reason that the gas prices have spiked is purely because of Russia-Ukraine. Now, there's no question that Russia-Ukraine, that conflict, and the cutoff of oil and natural gas from Russia has impacted world markets in a pretty severe way. But I need to show you the price of gas in the United States over the course of the last year and a half or so. Okay, this is going back about 1 year. When Joe Biden took office, gas in the United States was clocking in at about $2.90 a gallon, something like that, $2.80 a gallon. Okay, and as you see, the gas prices in this chart continued to rise continuously and steadily, to the point that at the beginning of his presidency, it was about $2.80, $2.90 a gallon. And then it was already $3.50 a gallon by November of 2021. And then it continued to rise all the way up till just before this conflict. So it was about $3.60 a gallon. So you'd already had this massive 80 cent, 90 cent increase. in the price of gasoline over the course of Joe Biden's presidency. And then over the past couple of weeks, it's really, really spiked 75, 80 cents. So Joe Biden wants you to ignore the fact that the gas prices were rising continuously during his administration, largely because of his anti-gas and oil perspectives on how we should pursue our energy future. So yes, we are in a significant crunch. But you know what makes a crunch worse? Is when you have exacerbated shortages in the first place. This is like saying that there's an earthquake and you have no water in the house. And so you say, well, the earthquake is a real problem because I have no water in the house. I mean, that's true. You know, it would have been really, really helpful if you hadn't gotten rid of the gallons and gallons of water that you had in the garage just before the earthquake, which is what Joe Biden basically did. Joe Biden has made it very difficult to set up a pipeline of energy futures in the United States. And what that means is that when the crunch comes, it affects us much more severely because we don't actually have the capacity to ramp up production in the way that we would have, say, 2 years ago under Donald Trump. For their part, the Democrats are simultaneously claiming it's not a problem and then sort of recognizing that it is a problem. So you have Democratic Representative Hakeem Jeffries, who's been discussed as a possible heir apparent to Nancy Pelosi as the head of Democratic caucus. He says, you know, we haven't even discussed gas prices during our caucus meeting, which seems like a weird thing to not discuss considering it's the number one topic in America.
What has been the reaction of your colleagues to, you know, things like diplomatic outreach to countries like Venezuela and Saudi Arabia in terms of like increasing the global oil supply?
I assume those conversations are taking place, but I haven't been read into them, and we await, you know, further clarity from the administration.
Okay, so yeah, no conversations taking place at all. Very, very interesting though. By the way, you know where there are conversations taking place is on the state level, where governors are about to feel the shellacking. There are a bunch of governors who are going to be up for re-election over the course of the next couple of years. And you know what they don't like? Those giant gas bills in their state. And so a series of governors from Michigan, Colorado, Minnesota, New Mexico, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, all Democrats, wrote directly to Speaker Pelosi and Schumer and McCarthy and McConnell asking them to relieve the gas tax. Now, it's Democrats who've been pushing the gas tax for years. It's Democrats who have believed that because gas is a staple in American life, they can make more government revenue if they just pass a federal gas tax. So all of these governors, all of Democratic states, are asking now Democrats to relieve them of the taxes they put in place in the first place. They say, according to the American Automobile Association, the national average gas price in the United States is $4.17, up more than $1 from 2021. The Gas Prices Relief Act, as introduced in the House and Senate, would alleviate the consumer cost of rising gas prices while protecting the federal government's capacity to make infrastructure investments. First, it saves Americans at the pump by suspending the federal gas tax for the rest of the year. Money saved at the pump translates into dollars back in consumers' pockets for groceries, childcare, rent, and more. If only Democrats extended this logic to tax cuts generally. It turns out that when you cut people's taxes, they have more money in their pocket to invest and spend on things. It is impressive that the Democrats are at the same time claiming this is not a problem and also please relieve us of the gas tax. Please, 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 please. We're in a battle for the culture and for our values. Like and subscribe to help keep our videos on the front line of the fight and top of your feed.